My name is Jason and this is Just Watches. Okay, today we have a watch from Baltic that they let me borrow for a review. I'm really excited to have my hands on Baltic. Now, Baltic is a French brand with a very strong following. A lot of the things that they release sell out quickly, and after having hands on this one, I was not disappointed. Now, before we get to the review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe, and if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. So this watch is available on the Baltic Watches website in a number of colorways for €550, which at the time of this recording is around $600 US. The case is 37 millimeters in diameter, 46 millimeters lug to lug. It's 10.5 millimeters thick, but about 1.5 millimeters of that is this massively domed sapphire crystal. And then we have a lug width opening of 20 millimeters. Now the case is quite flat with a very gentle curve on the lugs, but the short 46 millimeter lug to lug is going to make this watch wear great even on smaller wrists. The case is brushed on the sides and then has circular brushing on the top, and we have a high polish bezel. We also have a high polish crown that is integrated into the case. The stock Tropic strap starts at 20 millimeters and tapers down to 14. The strap is a beautiful color that complements the dial, and they made these matching colored straps for all 4 of the colorways. Now the strap is also very soft and flexible, and then it utilizes quick release spring bars. That's always really nice if you do end up wanting to switch out the strap. The pin and buckle are high polish and signed with Baltic, and then the strap is really comfortable, but Baltic also offers this watch on 2 different styles of bracelets, and those can be purchased separately. The screw-in caseback helps provide 150 meters of water resistance. There's information about the watch etched into the center of the caseback in a table style. I really like this presentation on the caseback. And then also it's great to see 150 meters of water resistance on this one. You're really going to be able to take it pretty much anywhere and not be afraid. This watch is powered by a Miyota 9039. This is a 28,800 vibration per hour hacking hand-winding movement with a 42-hour power reserve and a stated accuracy of -10 to +30 seconds a day. This is also the no-date version, which is nice because you won't have a ghost date position. This one is running in spec about +13 to 15 seconds a day with the dial up, and then around +8 to +9 seconds a day with the crown up. The 5 millimeter push-pull crown is unsigned and then flush to the case in this integrated style. This gives the watch a very distinct look, and while I think it is beautiful in that way, it does inhibit the functionality of the crown. Winding the watch is very tricky since there's very little of the crown accessible, and then setting the watch is less of an issue because you do pull out the crown into the time setting position, but it's just not going to be as easy as a more traditional crown when winding and setting the watch. The double domed sapphire crystal rises about 1 to 1.5 millimeters above the case and looks fantastic. This domed crystal adds quite a bit of charm to the watch overall, and since the case is so thin, the watch is still very thin overall despite this large crystal. The crystal causes great distortions when viewing the dial from an angle, a small detail that I always enjoy. Overall, I love the crystal used here, and I'm glad that they are using sapphire at this price point. The dial on this watch looks excellent. There's a ton of dimensionality and detail to talk about, but let's start at the railroad track around the edge of the dial. This is white against black, and then we also have large lume plots for the hours that cross into this section. Moving in, we have this high polish ring that frames the colored section of the dial. I love this detail. It catches light nicely and adds some visual interest and then ties in with that high polish bezel. The colored section on this one is matte brown and looks fantastic. We have minimal text with Baltic at 12, Hermétique, and 150 meters at 6. The 12, 3, 6, and 9 are applied with that same thick lume and reside on the inner colored section of the dial. The rest of the hours are marked with large lume dashes that bridge the 2 areas of the dial across that high polish ring. The indices are very sharp and make the overall legibility of the watch very high. All in all, I really love this dial, and I feel it's quite unique with that high polish ring framing the colored section. The syringe style hour and minute hand are edged in high polish and filled with lume. The second hand is high polish with a lollipop counterbalance and a lume lollipop towards the tip. The length of all 3 hands is perfect. Both the minute and second hands extend all the way out to the railroad track at the edge of the dial. The handset is also extremely legible against the dial. The lume here is Super Luminova C3X1. You can see it's very bright and legible, and it does last a long time. So very good lume on this watch. And here's the watch of my 6 3/4 inch wrist. That short 46 millimeter lug to lug is going to make this watch work great on smaller wrists. And then from the side, you can see it also wears quite thin. So pros and cons, starting with the pros. This watch looks fantastic and has a really unique dial. I love the thick indices, the high polish ring around the colored section of the dial, and the lack of a date to make maintain the overall symmetry. Second, I love the size and just how thin this watch is. Even with that huge domed crystal, they kept the watch thin overall, which is really nice and makes it extremely wearable. Last, I love the stock color matched strap. It's really comfortable and I think it complements the dial nicely. I think if you do go with the strap option, you're going to like the strap, and I would not consider replacing this one with an aftermarket strap. As for cons, I really only have one, and that is the integrated crown. I love oversized crowns for ease of use, but obviously this is going to come down to your personal preference. Do you prefer the beautiful aesthetic of that integrated crown, or would you rather have a more functional crown and an easier time winding the watch and setting the time? Only you are going to be able to answer that question, but for me, I am not a huge fan of this crown. As for comparables, for about the same price, you could get something like the Orion Hellcat. It is a very similar style and sized watch, and I do have a review of one on my channel. Another option in this price range is the Dufresne Maybury. Also have a review of one of those on the channel that you can check out. Finally, for less, you could always pick up something like the Seiko SPRG33. I haven't reviewed this one, but you can't really go wrong with the Seiko 5. So there you have it, the Baltic Hermétique. What do you think of this watch? Let me know in the comment section below. If you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's it for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.